back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and how y'all doing out there? If y'all doing all right, say amen. I hope that everyone is having a great day so far, a great week so far, a great month so far. Amen. Not gonna lie, full transparency. These last couple of weeks have been a little rough for me. Your girl's tired, a little bit stressed, a little bit overworked, but it's okay. It's okay because I'm blessed, amen, at the end of the day. So I don't really have anything to complain about. And I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I'm feeling great aside from being tired and a little bit stressed out. I am doing well. So I don't got no complaints over here. Last week was a little bit rough for me. Not a whole lot rough, but a little bit rough. Um, it was mine and my husband's wedding anniversary last week. So I spent the day doing some nice things for myself and taking care of myself and just making sure that I was pouring love into me that day, and I had a really good day. Even though it was rough, I still had a really great day, just chilling by myself and doing nice things for myself. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a weird couple weeks, but I'm getting through it and I'm managing. Kids are good. They're eating up everything. They're growing. My daughter's birthday's coming up, so trying to plan something special for her for that. Nothing too big or fancy, but just something to just show that I love her and it's her special day. So I'll be planning that soon. And yeah, life's just been life, and so but before we get into today's episode, we gotta pay some bills around here. Amen. So first things first, if you have not got the Empowered Mama Planner, it is available on Amazon right now. So you can go on Amazon and purchase that for yourself or for another mom or as a gift. Whatever you want to do, it is available right now on Amazon. Also, the Motherhood is Ghetto Self-Care Journal for Mothers is also still available on Amazon as well. You can grab that too. And last but not least, if you're not following me, I don't know why you're not. So if you're watching me on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please follow the show. Give me a like, leave me a review and all that good stuff because that lets the algorithms know that you like this type of stuff and it'll keep pushing it to you and other people like you who consume the same type of content as you do. Amen. Okay. So let's get into today's episode. So this episode I've been really wanting to do because it's 2025. The world as we know it is changing, and it is especially important. It's important for everyone, but it is especially important for my mamas out there. We got to get our money right. We got to get our money right. And I'm not talking about like I don't know. I'm not talking about in the smallest way. I'm talking about in the biggest way, in the most impactful way, because prices are going up. Like I don't know why there's this feeling in the air that like people think that like this bubble is gonna burst and then like everything is gonna go back down and level out to the way it was. I don't think that that's gonna happen because like if you live for a long time, then you know like prices of everything go up all the time. So grocery shopping is not like how it used to be for our parents. And, even consumer goods don't cost what they used to cost. Like the days of Circuit City are over. And all those little places where you could get stuff at affordable pricing, like those days are gone. And It's especially important right now for us to have our money together because there's so much uncertainty going on in the world. People are losing their jobs, things getting shut down. Small businesses are going to be hurting with these tariff increases and all this good stuff, or not even good stuff, all this bad stuff going on. And people are struggling as it is, and all these changes going on is just making it worse. The price of food is uh going up, keep going up. The price of gas, the price of electronics, cars, cell phones, like everything is going up. So now there's no better time than now than to get our money together and in order. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to share some helpful tips to help you get started. Amen. Because all we got to do is start. That's the hard part, is starting. But I'm just sharing some helpful tips just so to get you started in getting your money right, getting better with your finances, having a healthy relationship with money. Amen. Because I talk about it a lot. In my past, I did not have a healthy relationship with money. Money went in one hand and out the other. And as quick as I could make money, I was giving it away even quicker. So me and money were like, what is it? Water and vinegar, oil and vinegar. I don't know. We didn't mix. We didn't mix, and I could never hold on to it long enough to do the things that needed to be done for me, my family, and in my life. But over the last 2 years, I've really been able to turn that around with some intentional planning and really just sticking to the plans, sticking to what I knew was gonna help me live a better life and to better myself for my children. So I'm going to be sharing some tips with you guys today. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a financial professional. I didn't go to school for finance. I'm just sharing with you all some helpful things that I did to get my money in order. And they're not big, huge things. They're simple, small things that over time will avalanche into something bigger for you. And hopefully it'll open up some doors and avenues for you like to do your own research and to, take your finances and taking control of your finances to the next level. Okay? So, we're going to get right into it. I got my iPad here for my notes because I did not want this to be an episode where I'm just rambling about, like, girl, you need to get your money together. I took notes on the things that I want to speak to you guys about today. So, I'll be looking down periodically at my iPad to make sure I'm on track. But again, the whole purpose of this episode is to make better financial decisions. Make better financial decisions that not only will benefit you, your family, but it'll have long-term benefits. Like it'll have long-term ramification, positive long-term ramifications. And what I will say is that making better financial decisions for me has given me a level of peace that I could only dream of. And I'm not saying that I have a whole bunch of money and I'm balling out of control. Like I'm not. I'm not. I work a 9 to 5. I make a modest income. I don't have the fanciest things. I'm doing this podcast right now on my phone. So I don't do, I don't live like an extravagant life or anything. I don't have loads of money just sitting. I'm not a trust fund baby. Nothing like that. My husband didn't leave me anything. Like I'm just out here like every other single parent trying to make things shake for me and my kids. But when I tell you that taking control of my financial health and making better decisions when it comes to the money that I bring in, it's given me such a peace of mind as a mother that I just could have never imagined. I never thought that I would get to this stage. Basically is what I'm trying to say. Um, so some of the things that being better with my money has helped me to achieve, or what's helped that it's helped to develop within me, is I'm a better planner now. I'm a better planner when it comes to like planning for expenses, or planning even for like if I want to take my kids on a trip, if I want to do anything for their birthdays, my birthday, really w- knowing how my money habits and like how I spend money has really been a game changer when it comes to planning, because I can plan for something and know like, okay, by this time I will have enough money to cover this said plan, so that way I don't have to use my credit card. I don't have to do a buy now, pay later type of situation. And we're going to get into that later too, that buy now, pay later type stuff. Um, so I don't have to do those things. I can properly plan for the things that I want to do with my family, for myself, and it not be stressful, and I not be weighed down by, oh my God, how am I going to be able to afford this? I give myself time to afford it, basically. So it's made me a better planner when it comes to things like that. Also, too, it has helped me to save money. And what I'll say about saving money is that, especially if we're the only source of income and we're the breadwinner, we think, especially with kids, that it's impossible to save money. Because I was there, I thought that it was impossible for me to save money, because I, on top of my bills and regular expenses, there's just so many other things that I have to take care of. I was like, saving money is not an option. Lo and behold, it was an option for me. So, but I would have never known that if I had not got clear about my finances and made a decision to be better. Also, too, being better with my finances has helped me to be able to better handle emergency situations when they come up. So if something happens, like something happens with my car, or somebody needs an emergency, dentist visit or anything like that, I'm not stressed about how I'm going to pay for it, because I've been saving for it over time. And we'll talk about that too, about saving like a squirrel, later on in the episode. But that's what I do. I save like a squirrel. I save now for the winter, so to speak. Even though it's not winter time, like I'm saving right now. And when I say winter, I just mean like emergencies, like when things come up unexpectedly, or like it's a dry season and it's just things keep happening one after another. Then I have money saved for those type of things. And then also too, being better with my money has allowed me to have fun with my kids and have experiences with my kids, and not be worried about putting all of our fun and stuff on a credit card, then be stressed out about how I'm going to pay it later, or trying to pay down that debt. And and it really has, even the simplest things, like if my kids say, Mom, can we have Raisin Canes tonight, I'm able to do that because I plan my finances better than I did before. To where before, like, we couldn't even do those type of simple things. Like if they wanted to go out for ice cream or something, like I had to tell them no because I didn't have it. And that's crazy. That's crazy, and that's wild, at least for me. So I wanted to be able to have better experiences with my kids. And unfortunately, a lot of, and I know we could have free experiences here at home, but also too, like I do want to be outside with my kids. I do want to take them places. I do want to have fun with them outside of the home. I knew that I had to be better with my money if I was going to be able to have those experiences with my kids. And lastly, and the most important thing that I want to that I want to say, since getting my money in order, is I don't have to chase down overtime at my job, and I don't have to work harder for extra money. And that, to me, right there, it's a double rainbow blessing for me, because I can choose whether I want to work harder for extra money, like just because, or not. And I'm still okay. Like I don't have to work longer hours. I don't have to sign up for overtime, like to get like special incentives, stuff like that. I don't gotta do that unless I want to. It's not a need for me. And I know that because I lived a life too where like I needed extra overtime in order to have extra money to do whatever I was wanting to do with it. I don't have nothing to show for any of that now. But all those years that I spent working overtime, working long hours, like time away from my kids, from my husband, I spent a lot of time at work. Y'all, I missed my daughter's first steps because I was at work. Um, I'm not at a point where my finances make me work optional. I still do have to work and I have to make a living, but I don't have to chase down extra money at my job. I don't have to work as hard to get extra money to be able to take care of myself or to have anything extra, is what I'm trying to say. And for me, that's been the biggest flex. I can, when they say like, "Hey, you gonna work some extra hours? We got a spiff going on." No, no, I don't need to, nor do I want to. So with that alone, it's just giving me so much peace and so much joy. And I want to share these tips with you all. So let's get into these tips. But I thought it was important for me to share at least what impacts it's had on my life, and hopefully it'll have the same or similar impacts on your life, positive impacts. So let's get into these practical steps. They're very basic, they're very beginner friendly, very practical. Um, so the first thing is thoroughly review your spending. Like, so pretty much track your expenses. So what I mean by that is every single dollar that you spend, track it. From the snack in the vending machine at work to the Amazon purchases that you make on a weekly. Whatever it is, like everything in between, to track it, because what this is going to do is give you an idea of your relationship with money. It's going to give you an idea what you're spending your money on the most. And with these apps and stuff and these baking apps, like yeah, you could look at your spending or whatever, your transaction detail, but if it's better when you are writing down and saying, okay, this was the vending machine at work. This was takeout for the kids. This was grocery shopping. This was a bill. You need to know, one, where your money is going in and out. And that also includes income too. Like track your income like to the penny, what you make, what you bring in a month, in a week, like however you're paid, and then track your expenses, money going out. And for me, I think I talked about this in a different episode when we were doing our book club and we were reading The Black Girl's Guide to Financial Freedom. I went through a month's worth of my spending and I pulled up my bank statement, like every page, and I went through and I categorized everything. And I found that all my money was going towards food, all my extra money, all the money that I thought that I couldn't save because I'm a single mom and I gotta pay for everything and all this good stuff. It was all going to food. Just eating. Just getting food for kids, getting food for me at work. All because I didn't want to cook. And all because I didn't want to cook. So for me, that was where all my extra money was going. So I had to get a handle on it. But I would not have known that had I not like started like, okay, let me see where I'm spending my money the most and track it. So that would be step number one. Start tracking what you spend. Every dollar, just track it and categorize it. So if it was what you spent on bills, put that under the bills category. If it's food, put it under food category. If it's self-care stuff, put it under like just categorize it. And at the end, which is step number two, you're going to calculate all those. So, and then in whatever bucket that you have the most spending in, well, it really doesn't matter if it's a bill or anything else. Like whatever category you have the most spending in, that's where we can look at and kind of dive in and see, like, okay, where can I save some extra money here? Is it all the damn subscriptions that you have? Because that too was one thing for me. Like, I had a lot of subscriptions, so now I only have 4 subscriptions. I have my gym membership, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, and I have Crunchyroll. That's it. That's it. That's all I got. So, um, but yeah, so you'll be able to see exactly where your money is going and where you could possibly save some money and cut back. So, step number 2 with that also is calculate your income. So, subtract what you bring home versus what you spend and see if you're over or under. So, if after everything that you spend and after everything you bring in for the month, if you're making less than what you spend, then we have a spend problem. So that means we're spending too much on one or multiple categories, and we need to dive in and figure out how we can scale back. Or we have an income issue. We don't make enough money to keep up with the lifestyle that we're living. So that may mean, seeing about getting promoted in your current job or asking for that raise, or finding a new job altogether, picking up a side gig or a side hustle. It could mean any of those things, but that's the way to find out if you have a spending issue or a don't make enough money issue. So that's really what it boils down to. And that's going to help you to drill down and see like where you can cut back and start saving some extra money. So, practical step number 3. Determine your higher spending categories and ways you can decrease spending in those categories. So, for me, it was food. So, it was the eating out, and also too, eating out with 3 kids is not cheap. Eating out with 1 kid is not cheap, but eating out with 3 kids, and especially 3 teenagers, preteens, they're hormonal. They want to eat everything in sight. They're always hungry. They don't do happy meals anymore, kids meals anymore. They do full grown adult meals. So even if we go out to a restaurant, we're spending over $100 just for that one meal. And I could have probably went to the store with that $100 and got at least 3 meals and meals that we have leftovers with. So that was where that was my highest spending category was food. So I was like, okay, we are going to do we got food at home, and I'm going to have to myself. I'm gonna have to start cooking. Like, I had to have a real serious talk with myself. Like, look, girl, we can't keep eating out. Like, our back is getting bigger, our tummies are getting bigger, and my pocketbook is getting smaller. So we gotta cook at home. We gotta start eating at home. So that's what we started doing. We started eating at home more, and also, it on top of what I was spending on groceries, y'all, I was spending extra money on takeout. Like, I was almost matching my grocery budget with the like takeout and like eating out. So only having a budget for groceries, like, okay, this is the food I'm buying groceries for the whole month. This is what we're gonna eat on for the whole month, and this is what I'm gonna save on eating out. And that's where I started. So every time I went grocery shopping, I grocery shopped for us for enough food for the whole month, and we didn't eat out. Anytime I felt like eating out or the kids asked me to eat out, I would calculate what that total was and I would put it in my savings account. $40, $50, whatever it was, I would just put it in my savings account because we're not spending it. We're going to save that money. So yeah, determine your high spending categories and ways you can decrease. So if you have a lot of subscriptions, what subscriptions can we cancel? What are you not using? If it's self-care, if it's getting your nails done or hair done, spa days, like, can we scale that back? Can we get our nails done once a month instead of every other week? Can we get our hair done quarterly or every other month? What can we do to save a little bit of money? And everyone's lifestyle is different. So what may work for me may not work for the next person. So this is going to be all about finding out what works for you and what's going to be best for you. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to be better with your money. The goal is to be able to have money saved in case of an emergency, to have money saved for a vacation you want to take, have money saved for if you're trying to save up for a house, like all this stuff, like this all plays a part. So whatever it is that you want to save money for or have money put away or aside for, these baby steps are going to help you to get there. Next step number 4 is create a budget and then stick to it. A lot of us in our minds create a budget and we're saying like, oh, I'm only going to spend this much on groceries, or I'm only going to spend this much on clothes for the kids. And then we don't stick to it. We end up going over what we wanted to spend and we're just like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter. Like I have the extra money anyway. No, that's why you create a budget. So that way, with the money that you don't plan on spending, you can save it. And then with budgeting, you can explore different budgeting strategies. And I'll just put it out there. If you get the Empower Mama Planner, I have a breakdown of different budget strategies in there. So I personally use the zero-based budget method. And basically what that is every dollar that I bring in has a job. Every dollar is allocated to something. So that way at the end of it, the balance is 0. So what that means is that it doesn't mean that I spend my money on I spend all my money on something. That also includes saving. So how I use zero-based budgeting is, I calculate all my bills that I have to pay for the month. I calculate all my monthly expenses. So things that I do every month. So like I get my nails done once a month. Um, the kids, my boys get haircuts once a month. Just that type of stuff, like those other expenses, like outside of like utilities, like home bills and stuff like that. I calculate all that, and that includes grocery shopping, gas for the car, stuff like that. And I subtract that from whatever paycheck I'm gonna have for that week. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I have left after I pay all my bills and my regular monthly expenses. This is what I'm going to have left after my check. So instead of letting that money sit in my checking account for me to be able to spend whatever is left over for me, I move it to my savings account. So that way I can't touch it. And by the end of all that, I should be at a zero balance. So every dollar has a job. There's no money just sitting in my account willy-nilly waiting for me to spend it. So that's how I use zero-based budgeting. But there's lots of different budgeting methods out there. The trick is finding the one that works best for you and your lifestyle. So for me, that works best for me and my lifestyle because I like I said, I don't have money just sitting in my account waiting for me to spend. And my personal goal is to have enough money saved. Well, my goal right now is to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up. So that way, if the worst happens, if I'm out of a job or I get injured or sick and I cannot work for a brief period of time, then at least 3 to 6 months, I know my bills and everything are covered. So I don't have to be stressing about that for a short period of time. So that's my ultimate goal. Also, too, I really want to go to Jamaica. I really want to take a vacation to Jamaica. So I'm kind of saving for that too in a separate account that I have money go to automatically. But yeah, that's pretty much what a budget is for. A budget tells you like what a budget keeps you in track on what you need to do now, and then we'll tell you what you can do later as well. So having one is important, especially if you're running a household, you're the breadwinner, you're paying all the bills, you're doing all the things. It is very important to have a budget. Next step number 5 is we got to start exercising restraint and discipline. We have to. We can't let and I understand it's hard because we're only just flesh and blood. We're only human. So yes, it's hard when the impulse to buy comes up or you get those cravings, all that stuff. It's hard, but you have to say no when you need to. And you have to say no if whatever it is you're putting money towards doesn't serve you anymore. Like, you have to be able to say no. You have to be able to show some restraint and some discipline. That's the only way this is going to work. So if you're not ready to make a change in your finances, then this whole video, this whole episode, it's not for you. If you're not there mindset wise, mentally wise, that's okay. That's okay. You can revisit this whenever you feel like you're ready, but if you're ready to discipline yourself and change your mindset that, your money works for you, you don't work for your money, then welcome. Welcome. We're here. We're here. And if it's something that you absolutely need, by all means. But if you can hold off, if it's something that you can wait and plan for and save for, like if someone hits up the group chat, like, hey, like we're gonna go on a trip to California next week, like we're gonna go on a road trip, like who wants to come? And you really don't have the funds for it, or you were planning on like doing some like DoorDash or Uber, like get some extra income, like just say no. Like if it's not gonna serve you right at that moment and it's gonna put you in more of a financial bind to say yes than it is to say no, then say no. It's okay. It's okay. Here's the thing, and here's what gets me about like consumerism and just the world we live in today. Everything makes it the way they advertise to us is that you need to have it now. You need to get it now, or not going to be none left when you decide. But it's okay to plan for things. It's okay to plan for nice things. It's okay to plan for trips, save for them, save for furniture. You don't have to get stuck in the hamster wheel of putting everything on the credit card, paying it off over time just because you want it now. You don't have to get stuck in the buy now, pay later loops with interest rates and all that good stuff just because you want it now. You really have to take a step back and assess, do I need this now? Can I wait? Is it a need or is it a want? Is it an emergency situation? Or can I set aside some time and a goal for myself to plan for this? And then also too, like, run the numbers on it. Like if you're planning a vacation, like run the numbers, what it's gonna cost for flights, hotels, the trip, all that. And once you have that number, make a plan to save for it. Say, okay, I can save up this amount of money in 5 months. Break it down, how much you'd have to save monthly, every 2 weeks, if you're paid every 2 weeks, weekly, if you get weekly checks, or monthly, if you get paid monthly. Like, break it down, run the numbers, and I promise you, for anything that you have a goal for saving for, I promise you, if you run the numbers and see and break it down, how much it's actually split up over time, you can save it. You can save it. Break it down into a smaller number. If your goal is to save $5,000 in the next 90 days, break that $5,000 up. If you get paid bi-weekly, break it up. How much money you have to save out of each check every other week to meet your goal. And I promise you, it's going to change the game for you. But in order to do that, we got to exercise restraint and discipline. We have to. We have to control our impulses and our urges to just shop and buy for things that we really don't need in the moment. So that's what's really going to set you apart. Step number 6, credit cards. Now, credit cards is something that I'm fairly new to. I didn't have credit cards for a long period of my life because when I was young and in college, I messed up my credit getting a credit card, and I was never really able to bounce back because I didn't know how to bounce back. So credit cards have only been in my life or resurfaced back in my life over the last 3 years. and I only have two credit cards. And by the average American citizen standard, I don't have like the credit limit that I have on my credit cards are below what the average American has on their credit cards, but that's by choice. Now let me explain. So, for me with credit cards, I don't want I don't want credit that that's high where I have the option to use it. I want the my credit limit to be lower. I want it to be like so my idea with my credit cards is that if the worst to worst came up and I had to max out that credit card based on what I make and what I bring home, I can pay that card back off. Like within 30 days, I can pay it back off. So for me, that's how I use or how in my mind like I I plan like once I started getting credit cards, like that's how I'm going to use it. I'm not going to accept limit increases to where if the worst to the worst happened, I had to max it out, I couldn't pay it off. I don't want to pay off credit card debt over time. I want to when I spend on my credit card, I have the money to immediately pay it within 30 days. So, step number 6 with credit cards, don't spend it unless you have the money in your account to immediately move to your credit card or to pay it off within 30 days. Now, I know that that may not be practical for some people, and I get that. But for those of us that who it is practical for, and your balances are low, and you only use your credit card like for emergency type situations, stuff like that, then that would be my tip and suggestion to you, because it's definitely easy to get into credit card debt. It's easy, and it's and that and student loan debt is probably the hardest to get out of. So don't set yourself up for failure with credit cards is basically what I'm saying. If you know that you're not good with your money and you're not good with paying on time, just don't use them. Don't use them until you're ready financially and you have like your credit cards aren't what you're living off of or trying to live off of, because man, when them people come knocking for their money, they want their money. And then, not to mention, too, it could just wreak havoc on your credit scores and stuff if you're not paying on time. All that good stuff if you're carrying over balances. Like, just use responsibly. If you have credit cards or if you're thinking about getting credit cards, just use them responsibly. That's really what I'm trying to get at. Do what works for you and don't overextend yourself when it comes to credit cards. Just yeah, that yeah. I'm gonna leave that one right there. All right, next tip is no more of the buy now pay later stuff, because no more of the afterpay, the shop pay, the what I was gonna say Zelle, not Zelle. I can't think of what it's called, but Sezzle, that's what it is. Sezzle. Y'all know what I'm talking about. No more of that, because all it is another bill. It's another bill that you got to pay every month or every 2 weeks or however you set that thing up. In a pinch, like I said, like in an emergency, and if that's like the only thing that you can do, go ahead, but you have to do it responsibly. There should be no reason that you got 6 buy now pay laters out there for clothes, clothes, shoes, like all that other stuff. I know now you could do buy now pay later for groceries too. I mean, like I think that that could be a good thing for people who may really need the extra help, but don't rely on it. Don't let it be a crutch for you, because at the end of the day, it's just another bill. It's just another bill. And again, the way that we are marketed to and how consumerism is working for us Americans, everyone makes us feel like we need to get it right now. is so exclusive. You need this right now. Oh, you don't got the money right now? No worries. You can just pay for it later. We'll ship it to you. Like you could just pay for it later, enjoy it now, but pay for it later. You may not have the money to pay for it later. Life can change in the matter of a second. So you may not have the money later on to pay that back. And then that's another thing. If you don't pay that back, that hits your credit. Like, and it's crazy out here. So if you can avoid it, like just save for it. Like whatever it is that you're trying to get, just save for it. And I promise you, it's a better feeling when you got the cash to pay for what you want than to get it now when you don't have the money and then be paying over time. How many of us are still paying for Christmas gifts? It's March. And we put everything on the credit card, everything on buy now, pay later. How many of us are still paying for Christmas 2024, birthdays in 2024, furniture from 2024? Like, how many of us are still doing that? It's crazy. And I'm not, and there's no shade to anyone who is doing this or is taking advantage of stuff like that. If it works for you, it works for you. But I know for me, it didn't work. None of that stuff ever worked for me because my life changed. And then I couldn't afford it. And then it hit my credit. So if you can wait to get it and save for it, do that. Do that. Because we don't need any more bills. Not the way that everything is going. We just don't need any more bills. And my last tip, which I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, is save like a squirrel. And I got this tip from Tiffany Aliche, the Budgetnista. If you haven't heard of her, then you should probably look her up. But she gives great financial tips, advice, stuff like that. And I came across a post of hers and she was talking about saving like a squirrel. And she used the analogy like, does a squirrel wait till winter to get everything that they need? No. They're like it's springtime right now. They're stacking now. They're getting their nuts and stuff together right now because they know in the winter that stuff is going to be scarce. So when we think about it in human terms, there is going okay, I don't want to put that out there and say that like hard times are going to come, but not everything is always going to be easy. It's not always going to be easy street. There will be times where we fall on hard times and there will be emergencies that come up that you can think of as your winter. So when things are not going as planned, when things just seem like, man, it's just one thing after another, like I can't get my bearing, I can't get, on my feet. Like every time I feel like I'm making headway, I get knocked back down. Like those are our winters. So let's be prepared. Like I know it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things like, oh, like my car is working fine now. But what about later on down the line? Like what if, something happens, engine blows, or you get into an accident, Lord forbid, and you have to pay to get your car fixed? Why not just plan for it? And not to say that like you're wishing or hoping something bad happens. Of course not. But wouldn't it be better to be prepared for it than to be caught off guard and not have any money to handle said emergency or said winter season? Like squirrels aren't out here thinking like that. They're not like, oh, well, I got enough from last winter, so I'll just, I'll be good. Like, and maybe this winter won't be as bad as the last winter. No, they're filling up their mouths right now with all the nuts and they're taking them to their homes so that way they're ready for their winter. So, and especially in times when we have abundance in money. So I know it's tax time. The girlies are getting their checks. So this, like right now, like if there's not a immediate need that you need the extra money for right now, just save it. Save it for a rainy day. Save it for whatever it is you're trying to do, a goal. Like it doesn't all have to be spent up right now. Um And that's the best times to save, when you have that extra influx of cash. So when it's tax time, when you get a bonus at your job, if you're into the stock market, you're cashing out stocks and like you're up, like those are the times when it's like we got to be saving, like putting stuff away for the winter. And it's easier to do that. And instead of like, if you're already struggling with your current income to make, to find money to save, when you get those big influxes of cash, like why not save it? um and prepare in advance, because like I said, life can shift at a moment's notice, and you just want to be prepared. And the one thing that we can all be certain of is that life be lifing. Like life's in a good way, in a bad way. It goes up, it goes down, positive, negative, all that stuff. And you just don't know which way things could turn out. So why not be prepared? So save like a squirrel. But that's it for all my tips to get your money right in 2025. And I hope that this was helpful. And I pray that if you are going through a season right now where you're just struggling financially and you're just trying to keep your head above water, I pray that you have a financial miracle in your life. I pray that these tips help you to at least get started on getting better with your money, getting to know how your relationship works with money, and how if it's not the most healthiest relationship, what you can do now to turn it around. Because at the end of the day, our kids are counting on us. Our families are counting on us to make good choices that will have that ripple effect for the long run. So hopefully this was helpful. If you did find this video helpful in any way, please like and share. Share with anyone you think also would find it helpful. Don't forget to follow me if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Follow the podcast. Leave me a nice review, 5 stars preferably. Drop me some comments. You can hit me up on Instagram too at motherhood_ghetto. You can send me a DM if you want me to talk about anything about motherhood, anything like that, or you want me to share any of my experiences, you have a question, I am here for you to offer any type of advice that you think I could be able to offer you. And thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, mamas.